You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson. Alongside, he's back. He's back, baby. Our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And
Keith Cheatham.
Oh, we're so happy, Sean, to have you back.
I'm happy to be back.
Back in the saddle again.
Your legs look like they've healed well since falling down that manhole.
Yeah.
He's not in the crutches anymore.
Yeah.
How's Lambo?
Why is it going to be a manhole?
Well, why? That's just what it turned out to be.
Well, we talked about maybe it being a well hole, but, you know.
Yeah, we tried. But
Brandon
no.
did mention a well hole.
That's what I wanted. I want to fall down a well.
I feel like you can't call it a woman hole because that's sexist, too.
That definitely
Yeah,
is.
I think it should just be a human hole.
It should be a they hole or maybe a
they
zer
hole?
hole.
A
Fell
them.
down
The
the
zer hole.
A
The
zer
Z
hole.
hole. You fell down the Z
hole.
hole. There we go.
I like that one.
That's
Oh, wow. Now you're going all racist.
What?
Talking about Nazis.
No, that could have been
Making fun of
okay,
Germans over there.
Final Fantasy VIII. Going back to my nerd culture. Okay, dropping back into middle school Brandon.
And where'd
There
they
was
get
a
the
guy-
accent from?
It was the guy was not German.
Ah.
They didn't have Germans in the game. Okay, it's Final Fantasy. It's
They
a-
could
it's
still
some-
have accents.
It's some race. I don't know what race
Final
it is.
Fantasy?
It was
Nine.
one guy who just he had Z or X in front of like everything. It was
Oh.
like we has to find the evidence. It was I don't know.
Yeah, that's
It
German.
was-
yeah.
That's Albert
No.
Einstein.
Yeah.
That's people who mock German. That's what that
Well,
is.
apparently that's what the Japanese were doing when they designed
Yeah.
that game.
Yeah.
Because they said, we know we messed
They
up
were
when
like,
we teamed
look,
up with them.
yeah, they were like, look, you got the bomb dropped on us. That's you're to blame.
But he's a good guy
For
in the
following
game.
you.
So
What?
what's that say? Maybe the Japs were sending a hidden signal. All right, well, enough racism for this episode. We are now going to talk about movies.
Movies.
But before we even get on the movies, I got to throw out a shout out because they watched our movie from last week.
Shout.
That is Bethany and Michael,
Let it all out.
wonderful couple from Nebraska.
What?
Living out in Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Some friends of old.
Good movie.
They that is a fantastic movie. Absolutely, it is. Bruce Dern,
Yep.
June Squibb.
Mhm.
She did a great job. in
Friends
the
of
movie.
old.
Friends of old. Get me back on topic. They actually, well, I don't know about Michael. He didn't really say. He was just kind of laughing at the. Well, he was laughing at all the shenanigans that me and Bethany were throwing at each other because she liked the film.
Which film?
She liked Promising Young Woman,
Oh.
and
Well, that's fine. A lot of people do.
I know, but it
I
was
mean,
funny
it's
because
got-
she did listen to a review,
Yeah.
and she didn't knock it, but she was just like, she was kind of teasing. I couldn't tell if she was being serious if she, but she did like the movie. I could tell she was being serious about that.
I mean, it's got nominated for Best Picture. Somebody had to like
True,
it.
true. But all that being said, I want to give a shout out for them for tuning in,
Mm-hmm.
watching our review, watching our show.
Yeah. That's like 2
That's true.
viewers we had last week.
Woo! I know. Hey,
like, listen.
you were a viewer last week,
I was.
but we're glad to have you
For
back.
most of it.
Anybody
And your dad
who's willing to watch
He's out
us.
of the hospital now.
He
Yeah.
is.
That's good news.
Yeah, I brought him home tonight.
Hell yeah. That's fantastic news.
Yep.
On the mend.
Yep.
He did not fall down a manhole cover.
Nope.
In
No.
fact, there's a picture of him on Facebook with a giant scar
Yeah.
down his chest.
Did you see the shirt that I got him?
Yeah, the shirt's
No,
awesome.
I didn't see what was
The
the
shirt.
It was in the same picture.
Yeah.
I didn't look at that. I looked at
It's
the
got like
scar.
a human heart, but it has like gears and stuff in it, and it says original body, rebuilt engine.
Yeah.
Runs
That's
like a
pretty good.
charm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But then also in other news, I will be vaccinated this week.
Yeah.
Getting the first shot on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm taking the jump, taking the leap.
So
It
you won't be
was-
here next week then.
There's a very high possibility that I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our employer offered it, so I signed up. I got the email, and I did a little bitty. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. So 12:30.
Our employer
on Friday.
offers it, but I just haven't messed with it yet.
Oh, they do offer it?
Well, yeah, we work for a health we got like we
Okay.
could have
Oh,
got it
I
before.
just- yeah.
We could have gotten it when
Yeah.
they first started giving it, even
Which
though
is
we're not of
stupid to
age.
me
Yeah,
because
because
we work
you're not
we work
in
at a
the-
call center.
Right.
It's like,
You're-
why don't you give it to old people and doctors
Yeah.
first,
Exactly.
not the people that work
Yep.
at the call center.
Yep.
But no, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be vaccinated along with everybody else out there. I guess enough of the people
we get
in
it.
the
We get it for free. How about you?
free.
Okay.
It's for. I think everybody gets it for free. I think you just have
I
to
didn't
sign
know
up.
because like the flu vaccine is like your insurance pays for.
Yeah,
it.
but I think it's
But
a
this is
pandemic.
way more serious.
So
Yeah.
I think this is
Yeah.
kind of a
Way-
little bit different.
3% more serious.
Well, that's right because again, hey, look at the numbers. Nobody died of the flu last year. Okay,
They all died of COVID.
that's right.
Even the ones that caught the flu died
Yeah.
of COVID.
Yeah.
So we will see if I'm normal next week. I'll let you know if I have any symptoms. But that's shot one.
Oh, okay.
Even though we
Yeah.
have the very like the single shot dose that's being like made
Well,
right here in our backyard.
not everybody has.
No, I'm saying
access
it's
to that,
made
though.
here in Kentucky and we don't have it. I
They
don't understand
Kentucky doesn't get prioritized.
So did you get the
We're
one
a red
that's,
state.
that's made with aborted fetus cells?
We don't want it.
Oh, I didn't know that was the case.
Well, yeah.
Is it the Pfizer vaccine? That's
I
the
don't
one
know.
I'm getting.
I don't know. It's that one or the
Moderna.
Moderna.
There's only
The Johnson and Johnson one is that they advertise that they didn't use
Wow.
fetal
Isn't it pretty
cells.
sad that they're advertising that now?
Mhm.
Like, hey, we don't use aborted fetus cells. We're
Well, you hope the good
That's-
people at Johnson and Johnson find makers of baby products.
Right. I don't think they could sell shampoo if they did.
I mean, what if you walk into a pitch meeting and they're like, "All right, guys, we got to do something with abortion in the pitch." Okay, it's like, what the hell are we doing today? All righty. Well, we're gonna talk about movies finally. But tell us
We
if
got
you're
a,
getting a
we got a
vaccine.
big one.
We can
Yeah.
do, this
Yeah.
is one. Look,
It's a 4-hour one.
and it's a lot of controversy. A lot of controversy surrounding this film.
Yeah.
Here in this room, anyway.
Yeah.
maybe,
Well,
maybe on the
even-
interwebs.
Even on the internet, like I've seen, it's pretty much. I haven't seen a middle ground. It's kind of 50-50. People either love it or they don't.
Yeah.
And
I don't love it,
well,
You don't love it?
so I'll be 50-50.
okay,
Okay,
he's
all right.
he's right in the middle then. I mean, to be fair, I would say, I guess technically I'm in the middle, but because I don't
Score-wise,
hate
I'm not
it.
in the middle, but
So
I'm in the middle of you two. I'll put it that way.
yeah.
well,
You're
that's where you're always.
always sandwiched right there.
Just the way you all like it.
But we've been beating around the bush.
Yeah,
We're
why
talking
not get to
about
it?
Zack Snyder's The Justice League, of course, because it's been a long time coming. I mean, this has been in the pop culture stratosphere for 3 years now. I mean, ever since the theatrical version released.
2017, I
Yeah,
think.
yes.
Yeah.
So
So without further ado, it finally sees the light of day. What did we think about it? Here is our review of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
at one point achieving a nearly mythological status, the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League has been a topic of pop culture since the theatrical release of the film hit cinemas almost 3.5 years ago. With the story of Zack Snyder's unexpected and tragic exit from production of the film, leading to Joss Whedon reshooting over 80% of the movie, whose release was universally panned, fans had ever since petitioned for Warner Brothers to finally allow Snyder the chance to come back and edit the film with his original footage, and shoot an additional scene or two, to create what is now called Zack Snyder's The Justice League. This new 4-hour director's cut of the film has finally arrived on HBO Max, with many having anticipated its release eagerly, and many also not convinced Snyder would produce anything much better. Where does Snyder's Justice League settle? From the very start of the film, we are shown that Snyder's vision and cut will starkly contrast what Joss Whedon delivered. While many praise the movie for basically being a completely new film, and in many ways it is, the plot is more or less exactly the same. After being warned of an impending doom coming to Earth from Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, Batman, played by Ben Affleck, sets out to recruit a group of superpowered individuals to help protect Earth. Now that its greatest protector, Superman, portrayed by Henry Cavill, has died fighting Doomsday, also in Batman v Superman. This leads Batman to Jason Momoa's Aquaman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ezra Miller's Flash, and Ray Fisher's Cyborg, though not everyone is keen on teaming up. When Steppenwolf, servant of Darkseid, arrives on Earth due to the awakening of the Mother Boxes, 3 pieces of alien tech that when united would allow his master to conquer the planet, it's up to these unwilling heroes to unite and protect the Earth. So while praised as a completely different film, it's more or less the same movie, at least in plot. How we get through the plot from point A to point B, however, is what differs, though many of the set pieces are still the same. The biggest changes are the addition of added character development and plot points for both the Flash and Cyborg. More backstory on Steppenwolf and who he works for, Darkseid, less of cringe-inducing comedic dialogue and more cringe-inducing dramatic dialogue, and a lot of drawn-out, over-the-top, and overly stylistic action. Yes, there's a lot of new in this movie. Every scene is original to Zack Snyder, with no scene shot by Joss Whedon in the film. It does change the tone of the story entirely, but in essence it is the same story. Snyder was also granted a 4-hour runtime, which is where the additional depth for Cyborg and Flash comes into play. Yes, the movie is more cohesive now, with a better understanding of the characters and plot, but one also hopes anyone given an additional 2 hours to add to a film could provide more characterization and plot expositions. It is how Snyder delivers this extended content that for me feels miserable, though not as bad as the theatrical version. Dialogue, as mentioned, is still horrendous, but instead of goofy jokes, we now get Shakespearean dialogue such as, "This place is toxic. Good." And "This red cape charges back." I know I've not provided context for either piece of dialogue, but rest assured, even with the context, they are horrible lines. Snyder's cut of the Justice League is a practice in sheer excess, and why shouldn't it be? This is what he was brought back to do, bring his vision that fans begged for to screen. And Snyder fans will be happy, I'm sure, but that doesn't make the film good. Serious moments are built to only for the mood and moment to be killed by something overtly goofy or unrealistic. Action scenes that should speak for themselves on how awesome they are bolstered by the film's bad soundtrack, whether it's the music actually composed for the film or songs that play alongside the scenes. I always got the idea that a middle school student made a track list of edgy music that would be badass to play alongside a fight scene. In fact, this is how I felt about most of the special effects and fights. With 4 hours to play with, we are treated to all the slow motion Snyder can pack into a film. Because what's a Snyder film without a slow motion scene in the middle of every fight? With horrible character and set design on top of bad CGI, every scene is packed with flashing lights, hard edges, and so much going on that it becomes an eyesore. Ultimately, again, giving me the impression that this is what a middle school boy would make if he could. A movie that was cool and edgy, yet devoid of any substance. Even with the 4-hour runtime and added character development, the movie lacks substance. I still never care for these characters, or feel any emotional connection to them. They are too unrealistic to form a connection with. Yes, we get a more cohesive plot, and I now understand everything the story wanted to tell me, but I just couldn't care. And after having to sit through 4 hours to get there, I was thankful when the movie finally ended. Zack Snyder's Justice League is exactly the overindulgent film you expect from Snyder, and for many who wanted it, it'll please. Overall, however, I found the film a chore to get through, as even the scenes that started off well are ultimately butchered by Snyder's lack of finesse. Yes, it's better than the previous theatrical version, and yes, it's more cohesive, but that should have always been the case when given a second chance at fixing a work. Unfortunately, Zack Snyder makes movies like a brain surgeon trying to remove a tumor with a sword. Sure, it can probably be done, but the end result is still going to be pretty mindless. I give Zack Snyder's The Justice League 2 out of 4 stars.
Ooh, yet again. A little harsh critique there.
I want
I'm just saying.
I want to start out the gate and say that I'll fully admit that my opinion's not the popular. Like, this movie is doing really well. It's not the popular opinion. I just, and I don't hate them. I know. I mean, when I write a review,
we just
sometimes
heard your review.
Yeah, they sometimes
It's like, I don't hate it.
they can sound really
Sounded like it.
They can
but I
sound
don't
really
hate it.
harsh because I do pick apart the things about a movie I hate.
Well, yeah.
But I don't hate the entire movie.
And
just
you
the things I
admit
mentioned.
it's better than the original.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
100%. I'll be the first to say that as
So
well.
that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you bashed it that hard
Oh yeah. No,
and it's better than the original, just imagine how terrible the original is.
Well, my review for the original was only don't watch this movie.
Don't watch this movie.
We never had anything. That was it.
It was
Yeah.
pretty bad.
That was the only line, and
It
we
was
didn't.
bad.
I actually, and I went back. That was for Batman v Superman.
Well,
But it was funny because we had a whole podcast because we had just seen.
Well,
the
if you want to
film.
know the truth, and here's giving Zack Snyder a little bit of props. The director's cut of Batman v Superman is actually better.
It's
than
not bad.
It's better than the theatrical version
It's not
too.
bad.
Which-
So,
okay, so
his
that's
director
all it
cuts are
takes.
better.
Look, this is my problem with Zack
He needs
Snyder's
a second
cut.
chance on every movie.
No, he needs two to three more years
Well.
after he's had the final cut.
Yeah.
He needs more time, and then he also needs more money for the special
I
effects.
think he needs
and just to
someone.
forego any kind of profit.
Well, here's what I
and
think.
then we've got a decent film.
There's a reason
Decent.
both this and the director's cut of Batman v Superman were better is because the exposition was put back into the movie.
Sure.
And he said he didn't film anything new for Batman v Superman or this. He just took what was cut and put it back in. So what he needs is an editor to say, "No, Zach, remove the action you don't need and leave the exposition that makes the movie make sense."
I'm not trying to defend Zack Snyder because I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder at all. But when you read everything that I've read about most of the films that he's had to do with Warner Brothers and DC, a lot of his, if you want to call it vision or whatever, but a lot of the stuff that he filmed, he wasn't allowed to have in it. And he has a lot of pushback from either Warner Brothers, the producers, whatever. They don't want it to be a 3 or 4 hour movie, which I understand because it's a long freaking movie.
No one's going to sit in a theater for 4 hours.
Exactly. But I understand that. But
Unless it's gone
I
with
guess
the
it's kind of like not at all comparing this movie to a movie like The Ten Commandments or Ben-Hur. But it's like,
Return of the King.
could you imagine Return of the King with an hour less movie?
No.
Could you imagine Ben-Hur with 2 hours
But
less?
here's the problem.
That's what I'm saying.
I can remember. I could see this film with 2 hours less.
Yeah.
I agree. I
And-
agree.
And that was my only problem was when I saw this as a 4 hour
But-
time.
yeah.
I just thought, okay, even at 3 hours, it was pushing it.
But
I think he could have whittled it down into 3 hours and it would have been
Hell, even
a lot more
2:45.
solid.
he probably could have. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with
I
that.
thought there was a lot of excess that did. But see, and here's the thing. I said it in my review, and I'll say it again, that he was brought in to do this. Like, this movie has a lot of excess, but at the same time, why shouldn't it? Because that's what he was brought back to do, is to make
Agreed.
exactly.
And I was glad you brought that up in the review.
Yeah.
Because that is very
It's like,
true.
I'm not going to knock him for the excess entirely, because that's why he was brought back. But at the same time, it's like, some of this stuff is unneeded. It just draws the movie out longer for no reason other than for him to fulfill his own desire. And it's like, that's not necessarily good movie making. You're just scratching that itch that you want to scratch, which is fine.
Well, part of it too is what he started was completed and edited and marketed by
And butchered,
someone and butchered by Joss Whedon.
Well, I wouldn't fully say Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
He was brought in and they told him cut.
I was going to say,
They told him to cut 80%
Right.
of it. So.
But a lot of the bad all of the bad special effects was Joss Whedon's. Steppenwolf was Joss Whedon's idea to change the way he looks.
In this were I thought were terrible too.
The lip.
Though.
Yeah, well,
not that.
all of Warner Brothers special effects aren't that good.
The
Wonder
lip-
Woman's
but
not
let's-
that
hold
good.
on, hold on. Let's
but
first
it's still
start-
a better
Okay,
movie.
the lip is fully Joss Whedon.
Yes.
No
Yes.
one
The
deserves
lip is
blame.
bad.
He
Yes.
looked at that and approved it, and
Yeah.
that is all on him. I will
Yeah.
say Warner Brothers did tell him to change Steppenwolf because they thought he was too scary. They said we can't have.
What?
Yes,
they thought he was too
the
scary.
new one in this. They said he's too scary because they want kids to be able to watch.
Well,
the
see, it's
Justice
funny
League.
because
It's
there's
rated
so
R.
many.
No.
There's so many
Not the
memes about
theatrical version.
Steppenwolf
Oh.
looking cute and cuddly and stuff in
Yes.
this. They're just like, look at his face. His
Thi-
eyes look
This
like
version's rated R because that's
Yeah.
the version
Sad.
Zack Snyder wanted. Warner Brothers
Yeah.
didn't want R rated. They wanted kids to be able to watch Justice League, and they thought Steppenwolf was too
no
scary.
kid wants to watch Batman, like depressed, dark
Yeah.
Batman.
I honestly don't want to watch
Here's one. That's one of
Yes,
my first problems.
Batman, yes. Not Superman, not Cyborg. Some of these characters were
I don't
all
know
broody.
Cyborg's character.
Some of them were too
so
when every one of your superheroes in the Justice League, except for the Flash, he was the only one that wasn't. But
Yeah.
every single one of the others were broody and miserable. And I'm just like,
Wonder Woman's not that bad.
not that bad.
in
But she
his
didn't have-
movies, she is.
But she didn't have
but
much screen time in this. In
That's true.
this
That's
4-hour film,
Yeah,
Wonder Woman had the
she's-
least amount of screen
Not
time.
only
Yeah,
that, but
that's
let's
sexist.
not forget that we've also seen now Wonder Woman and Aquaman solo
Mm-hmm.
film, and we can't just completely remove those from our mind.
No.
Because I'll be honest, having seen those films before this actually gave me more of a leeway towards this film because I thought, well, this just gives you more reason
Well,
to
you didn't
have
need-
done
you didn't need
what,
character depth for
Avengers
them.
did, which
Yeah.
is we built up for 10 years before
Yeah.
we got Endgame.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
the thing with
and that was the thing was these characters, at least two of them had a deep backstory.
Mm-hmm.
This, and then they tried to add it with Cyborg and somewhat
And
with
Flash.
Flash,
Yeah.
which granted again
it needed it, but it also
that-
added.
that-
Yeah.
well, that kind of gives reason for your 4-hour long run
yeah,
time.
yeah. Because
But even
each
still-
expose was almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
For each character.
But
really.
even still, it was like I felt like the Cyborg story was a little bit too It wasn't bad. I just again, I have a problem with his dialogue. I have a problem with the way he tells the story.
I felt like he needed a movie himself the most, honestly, because so much of this story hinges on Cyborg's development that I was like, I think it would have been good if he had his own solo movie first.
Exactly. Well, and it's interesting because I gave it 2.5. I told you I was in between you two. Sean, you gave it 3.
I gave it 3, yeah.
And Keith, you gave it 2, obviously. So I felt like I was okay with jumping on the bandwagon, being one of the people who said, oh, yeah, absolutely, this is way better than the theatrical. But the dialogue was goofy. The editing, I thought, throughout was atrocious with the different parts. I'm just like, okay, this is just drawing it into trying to be too epic.
I thought it tried to make it a little bit more artistic.
Yes.
But and I didn't like the
same with the 4x3.
I didn't like the parts. I hated the aspect ratio.
It was stupid.
I will say that because it
made
didn't even look 4K.
Well, yeah.
Okay, here's the explanation because
I want to know
IMAX film camera
I know
it's
70 millimeter.
It's not a perfect. It's not a 4x3 square. It's actually a little bit wider than what Zack Snyder got. But Zack Snyder didn't film on IMAX. He just put it in that ratio so it would film an IMAX screen as if it was filmed on IMAX.
Here's the thing: you can go and watch.
We can't watch it in a theater.
Special features. Tenet special features show IMAX raw.
But
and it's beautiful.
But what they do is see like Christopher Nolan and Marvel when they film for IMAX is they actually crop it to fit a widescreen TV. So they crop the top and bottom off of the IMAX film so that it'll still fit the widescreen. And he didn't want to crop it. He wanted just the way it would be in IMAX. It's like, okay, I get that, but
it's on my TV.
You're not losing image if you crop the top and bottom if you're filming it specifically to crop them.
Okay.
Like if you have that
turn my 65-inch TV into a 40-inch TV.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I told you all the little trick I did with editing the footage. It was like all I did was just blow it up to match the 16:9
you zoomed
ratio.
And cropped the.
But here's the thing: I didn't have to adjust the height of the film because it literally just filled it up and everything was centered.
Well, yeah, he did that on purpose. He said he wanted to have all this to make everything look huge and grandiose. So he wanted all that extra space up there above their heads.
He wanted atmosphere.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I didn't like. So I made a list. Every Batman scene I hated. I can't stand Batfleck.
Okay.
I can't stand. Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
There were moments I didn't like him, but for the most part, he wasn't.
I didn't think he was that bad in this movie compared to the. I actually thought a lot of it made more sense, especially some of the.
Oh, it does make
some
more
of the
sense,
weird lines from the theatrical version. A lot of them weren't in this movie, but some of them were. And I thought they were less goofy in this movie because they had a before and after that made the line make sense. But not, I mean, I agree. There are some really bad dialogue.
Who's the butler?
Alfred?
Jeremy Irons.
Oh, Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
Alfred. I couldn't stand Alfred.
I don't like him at all.
I honestly thought every scene there was only one scene I liked with him, and that was the tea scene.
Yeah. I like that scene.
Yeah.
The tea scene with Gal Gadot I thought was good. That was funny, and it was actually like, okay, here's a little bit of just character for him. But every other exposition scene between him and Batman, I couldn't stand it. It felt forced. It felt like, why do we even need you in this film?
No.
You're only there because everybody knows who Alfred is.
Yeah.
And everybody, but when I'm sitting here thinking of Michael Caine and him tearing up in Dark Knight Rises, like that I believe.
Well, hell,
the emotion.
The Alfred in the Tim Burton Batman movie is way better than Jeremy Irons.
I could say
Alfred's supposed to be way older than Batman. He's not supposed to be almost the same age.
Yeah. But it's sad because exactly
because there's no wisdom there,
right?
You know,
exactly. It doesn't look like he's been with them his whole life.
No, not
but
at all.
I just didn't like anything that Batman was in. I felt like again, other than assembling the team, it kind of showed his weaknesses of being not really that. Because he's not really a superhero.
He's not a superhero. Exactly.
He just, you have all these other extra human abilities.
And I will say that is slightly a problem because Batman's always been able to hold his own, even although he doesn't have superpowers, because he's just one, so damn smart, and two, because he just
so damn rich,
prepared.
Well, what's your superpower?
I'm
rich.
I hated that. I hated that line because it didn't do his character justice. It gave him a slight.
Yeah.
And I'm it made me think
he's
like
a brilliant tactician, and it's like, and he's like in the comics, he literally has a backup plan to take down every single member of the Justice League if they ever turn evil. Like he has contingency plans on if I need to take down Superman, this is how I'll do it. If I need to take down the Flash, this is how I can do it. Like because he's overly paranoid and overly prepared.
But you don't get
Batman.
that. You don't get that from Zack Snyder's
No,
Batman.
not at all. One thing, some things that I did like. I did like that it was more concise. The plot actually made sense. It was cohesive from start to finish.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
As soon as the beginning started, I'll be honest, I hated the damn laugh
the
or
screaming.
the scream. I just thought the ripple.
Oh, yeah.
And like every time you saw it coming towards you, but then whenever it passed through the camera, it was like you heard a little bit of his sound again.
Too long.
And I was like, okay, this is dragging on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of this. And then once we get into, again, the dialogue, every time, and Keith, I think you brought this up in describing it, every time they said mother box, I was just like, what are what? Mother box?
It's one of those things,
Yep.
like, well, that
Really?
is what they're called in the comics, but it's one thing, and I don't want to jump over like to Marvel too much because they're different things, but I do think it's one thing Marvel does well is taking goofy concepts or names and then attributing like a reason behind why they're so that they're more you can accept like Rocket Raccoon.
Yes.
It's like that's a very the name's goofy, the character's goofy, but they do a good job making you buy it.
Yeah.
And I felt like
Well,
Mother
it
Box
fits
isn't
the
so
atmosphere,
it's
too.
not so silly a name that you couldn't make it believable, but I just
Yeah.
didn't feel like he did a good job in
It's like
this movie.
right up there with the Allspark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, I did appreciate that it was Zack Snyder's vision. I mean, again, like you pointed out in the review, I'm glad that, again, this is what he was brought in for. It was the excess. It was brought in for it to be fulfilling of everybody who had been clamoring for this. And she is just rambunctious.
She's all
isn't
over
she?
the place right
Come
now.
here.
I will say I felt like
she's just the Red Moon pup is getting crazy. She's getting crazy.
I didn't care for most of the CGI, and you're right. A lot of Warner Brothers CGI in movies, actually, now
It's
I think about
subpar.
it, is not always the best. But I felt like even just outside of like the CGI not looking real, I just thought some of the designs for like characters and things, it's just like it's very hard, like dark and hard edges and moving pieces, and there's a lot going on in the scene, and I'm like, what is like I'm about to have a seizure
Yeah.
in some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But like for me, I thought the worst, and was what you said was Darkseid. I was like, he looks terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like this is supposed to be like a Thanos level villain. In fact, if you compare like Darkseid to Thanos in the comics, I would say that Darkseid could beat the snot out of Thanos easily if we're going off comics. And I never got that from I never felt that threatened from Darkseid
not
in this
at
movie.
all.
No.
I was like, this is a character who could wipe out like almost all of these people.
Now, not in defense of the film again, but if I feel like the end of the film does set up, obviously he planned on having 2 more of these monstrosities, but I feel like the end of the movie does set up a Thanos type villain, because even in the Avengers, it's like Thanos is
Yeah, he's just
up there
sitting
sitting on a throne talking. You don't really feel the weight of how powerful and how destructive he is until you get deep into Endgame or Infinity War and Endgame. So I kind of felt like, okay, well, if we had another one of these films where we do see Darkseid come to Earth to wreak havoc or whatever, to get revenge, and what's he looking for? The anti-life?
Oh yeah,
that was
anti-life
stupid.
equation.
equation.
Yeah.
Equation?
That was the other
Yeah.
thing.
I love
the
that.
anti-life equation.
I love.
But
Don't
again,
make fun of it. I love that
way,
name.
The way it's described and the way it's just thrown at you, and it's like, I don't know what the hell this is.
Look, you put Darkseid with the anti-life equation versus Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, and you just all of reality's gone.
And who
Like,
the hell
just
would
let's
make an
watch 'em beat it.
anti-life equation? Like, why is it created?
It's
I don't
just
get
something
into
that's
the
it's
weeds.
it's existed forever. Like no one
It's just
made it.
supposed to
It's-
be the most
it's-
destructive thing in the universe.
It's just
I mean, it would
it's a
destroy the
natural-
universe.
yeah.
It's just like, why?
It's like
why
it's like
does it
the
get
what's like the
created?
Infinity Stones. They weren't created. They've existed since the beginning of time. Like
Right.
they're
But nothing bad happens till they all come together.
Mhm.
This anti-life equation.
Well,
in
nothing-
the name it says anti-life. It's like, why was that even created?
Well,
I don't-
it
because-
just exists. It wasn't
yeah.
created. Like it's something that created itself. It's like a godlike
and
power.
how
it
the
just
hell
exists.
do they know what this equation does?
That's beyond me.
How do they know
It's been
that's-
used before.
It has. Okay, well now we're getting
okay.
into
It
the
doesn't
weeds.
wipe out all life. It makes you. It basically, you have no longer have sentient free will. Like he basically would be in control of all life in the universe.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Like he would have
Just like the little bug people that he controls.
yeah.
What are they called?
Yeah,
The parademons.
Parademons.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
that too.
Yeah, I don't like the way they
hated that
look.
too. The way
I
they
just don't like
looked.
that.
I thought it was every time they came on. I was annoyed by them
Basically, the
flying around
parademon.
everywhere,
Everyone
and he
would be
was
turned.
like,
into,
my parademons.
they would, everyone would be
Yeah.
turned into a parademon, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's all the
Yeah.
parademons are.
Just a
People
big
that
brood
he's already like
Yeah.
controlled and contorted into these
well,
things.
all right, we're
So-
not done talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
So Cyborg though.
Oh, okay, we're
I
jumping.
do
okay.
want to just dive into
Yeah,
Cyborg
I mean-
because I know Cyborg is absolutely I felt like he was the most terrible character. I think his
in the movie,
his story arc should be awesome. I mean, he basically, between him and the Flash, they actually are the ones who save the day.
Yeah.
They save the whole planet.
Actually, before you get real, I do want to say I did appreciate that because in the theatrical version,
the Flash is nothing. He's just
in
comedic relief.
the theatrical version,
Yeah.
like they don't win until Superman's revived. And
Right.
It's like, so basically you're saying they don't need the League, they just need Superman to come back and kick everybody's ass.
Yes.
In this, it's like, yeah, Superman came back and kicked butt, but they still needed the Flash.
Oh,
They still
Superman
needed
is
Cyborg.
obliterated.
They still need.
When they bring the mother boxes together.
Oh yeah.
He's
Everybody's
disintegrated.
obliterated.
So it's only
yeah.
the Flash turning back time that brings even Superman back.
So I love the fact that it's like they did need all the members to accomplish it in this movie. I did like that.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't
like the way
just-
they set that up because the Flash it's like you said, he is an interesting character, but in Whedon cut, he's just
comedic.
He's just a comedic relief.
Yeah.
In this, they took a lot of that out, which I appreciated. There are a couple of quirky things that he does, but I felt like
a damn hot dog scene.
yeah, I disagree, but I understand where you're coming from. I liked it, but again, there's other points where even when they're in the Batcave and they're sitting around talking, and it's like they're arguing about the plan and everything, and it's the Flash that gets serious for a moment and unifies everybody and says, "Look, if this is the plan we have, if we do it together."
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Let's go with that.
That's all you got.
And it's like I like that because now he's actually an important character, kind of like a linchpin. Yeah, I love at the end of the movie when they're all doing their little superhero stance at the top of the silo, and he fist bumps with the cyborg. I thought that was awesome because it's like he is one of the ones that kind of brings the team together as one, and I appreciate that they gave that to that character because I felt like Ezra Miller's character in Whedon was just
I would say,
stupid.
Yeah,
well, we've
But
trashed Ezra a lot on
Cyborg
this show.
is I felt Cyborg's pain this time around.
Yeah.
The first time I'm like, why is this guy? You said it best in your text to me. You were like, he's a brooding asshole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he was, but in this I kind of understand why. Reading like Zack Snyder's vision for Cyborg, the left half of his brain is missing. That's the side of the brain that processes human emotion. So he doesn't have human emotion. He has a cyborg brain on the left. So he is a constant battle between machine and man.
Now that's true.
And
but he's always been a very optimistic
But
character.
see, I don't know that from the comic books. I only know what Zack Snyder tells me Cyborg is supposed to be. And based on the theatrical version, this cyborg, I thought, had a reason to be brooding and had a reason to hate his father, but really love his father.
That was another
And
line I hated when she was talking about saving the world. He's like, "F the world." I was like, well, that's
dumb.
Oh
stupid.
well, that actually.
I was like, "We got a badass over here."
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
It does remind me of that scene in Jurassic Park.
It's like,
That's
see,
like-
no one cares.
No one cares. Well, and that was another problem I had with the film. It did not need to be rated R. It was the violence.
Oh no,
2 F-bombs
just the violence,
and some
I think.
CGI blood.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was
that's dumb.
alien blood. It was like, okay, this is really forced. We don't need to have. It's like, again, you said in your review, it's a middle schooler who's like, I gotta be edgy, and this is the way to be edgy. This will be cool. And I just feel like that's what Zack Snyder.
Well, both of the F-bombs, or well, was it just 2?
There was just only 2 that I remember: Cyborg and Batman.
Okay, I was gonna say I know the Cyborg one is like completely misplaced. It's like you can drop an F-bomb in a movie and make it awesome.
Yeah, but
that was like Logan.
Yeah,
it was like hearing Professor X use
Say
the
it
F
too
word
many
3
times.
times in a sentence. It was just stupid.
Now, what did you all think then of? Let's wrap up our because we're
ranting.
Let me just put it this way: our headline topic.
It ties in a bit.
It ties into this because of the fact that
transition.
we've got 2 different movies. We got Mortal Kombat coming out. This just dropped, and we got our whole conversation on how do you measure the success of digital releases, plus mixing that in with this being a digital release, but it's also been obviously proven to be successful.
Yeah.
With how much chatter it's created, it's giving fans what they want. But before we dive into that, just real quick, wrapping up the review topic, what did you all think about the epilogue scene? And I don't want to spoil too much just because of the fact that...
Well, that was actually the only
That's the
scene
only
that
thing he reshot
he
or he
filmed.
filmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't $80 million worth. I know that.
Is that how much it cost?
Warner Brothers gave him like 80 or
They gave
85
him
million.
80 million to make this cut.
To make the cut.
So
well,
you have to
that
remember-
goes into editing, new
then,
CGI.
No,
for,
it didn't take no 80 million. For
but
that
not for that one scene, but they had to do like that. The CGI editing.
I liked the scene only after reading what was planned to come after this movie and beyond. only reading the story that was going to be Justice League 2 and 3, that's the only time I really liked the scene, and I absolutely hated the scene when the Joker says the one line to Batman about the reach around. And that that I just felt like that's just like, where did that come from?
Yeah,
like, that's
because-
just stupid. I know he's the Joker,
It's rated R.
but I'm
didn't-
just like, that makes
I didn't like the scene. I mean, I appreciate what it was trying to set up. I did, because I mean, I knew what they were going for, and I was like, okay, I do like the aspect of showing like these villains and heroes teaming up because
Yeah.
they have to work together
Yes.
But
in
it's
order
quick.
to accomplish. Yes,
It's like just a minute ago, Lex Luthor was recruiting
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke,
Yeah.
and then now you see Deathstroke on Batman's side,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
with the Joker.
Well, because the scene with Lex Luthor was supposed to set up the solo Batman film Ben Affleck was going to make,
right.
and then the epilogue was setting up Zack Snyder's
okay,
Justice League.
this is my
So they were
entire
setting up
problem.
movies that are no longer happening.
This is
Right,
my entire
right.
problem with the epilogue. Is it literally was just serving as it was Zack Snyder.
This is what I was going to do. Yeah.
This is
It's
what was
fan bait.
planned exactly, and
Yeah.
it's to me that okay, and we're gonna get into that discussion. That's where we
Yeah.
need to go into our headline.
Okay, roll it.
All right, I'm getting on to it.
Roll
My
that
gosh.
beautiful footage.
Let's
Killing me, Saul.
Stole your line
Oh, man,
there,
she's getting
Brandon. I'm
excited.
sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, we got a lot of people watching tonight.
Well, beautiful.
Because they want to watch the Justice League.
They're all
They're- yeah, they
want
wanna
to
hear about
It's
it.
been a success. People tuned in for one.
It's like,
Hey,
you know
hey,
what?
Hey, I'm
If-
serious. The
If Zack
best,
Snyder making more movies gets us more views, then let him
I'm
do
gonna tell you
it.
the line in that movie that put freaking like goosebumps on the back of my neck.
oh no,
I'm serious.
wasn't one of them.
There was no. I mean, I loved it. Was when Batman is telling Alfred, he's like, "You don't want to wave the red cape," and he goes,
Oh, no.
when you wave this
That's
red
the very
cape,
one we reviewed.
That's the one I was
this
talking
red
about.
cape
charges back.
back." I was
Oh.
just like, "Hell yes, it does."
No,
Hell
I was like,
yes,
that
it
was
does.
the dumb.
I
hated
thought that was
line.
awesome.
terrible.
I thought that was awesome.
We still are in division.
I know it's fine.
There's
Yeah.
no. There's. I mean,
It's
we
because
have,
Superman's my man, and I'm
Oh,
just
I love-
like, he's the
Superman's
best
my-
superhero ever.
Yes, I
And I'm
agree.
just like, you're damn right. He charges
Superman
back.
is
Nobody
my
can beat
absolute
Superman.
favorite out of any
I
character.
thought that was awesome.
And that's why I hated it so much because I was like,
Yes.
I want to see Superman done right.
to me, it was cringe-inducing when he said it.
Oh,
I
man.
just I couldn't take it seriously. I heard Ben Affleck say it, and I just wanted to think, what is
If
this?
somebody else would have said it, it would have been okay.
Maybe.
Might have been.
Maybe.
Might
All
have
right,
been.
all right. I'm sorry. Keep
Christian
going.
Bale, this red cape charges back.
He says you do when
Actually-
it's this one that charges.
Look,
back.
we still look. Even good, we still make fun of Christian Bale's voice. So even good movies can have bad. Yeah, swear. Yeah.
I mean, I will say I'm.
Where are they? So see, we can even knock stuff about
I
good
am
movies.
glad they took out.
All right.
You know, do you bleed? I'm so glad they.
that
got
was
rid
in
of
Batman
was
v
in Batman v
Superman.
I know,
Superman.
and that was no. It was in this one. It was the Whedon cut. It was in the Justice
No,
League Whedon cut.
It's in
yes,
Batman
it was.
v Superman when he gets
Oh
out
no,
of
no,
the.
No.
When Superman gets
Comes
revived,
back.
he asks Batman. I forgot.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
yeah.
bleed?
He said,
but
"Do you
Batman
bleed?"
says it to Superman in Batman,
Batman.
v
Right,
Superman.
yeah.
But when Superman says it in Justice League,
It was
the fact
bad.
that they cut it from this movie, thank
Oh,
God.
okay, yeah.
Because it was
Agreed.
awful. Because we
Yeah.
didn't even added Batman saying, "Oh, I think something's bleeding now," when he's trying to get off the ground.
What?
Yeah, oh,
I don't
yeah.
even remember that.
It's just god
Okay.
You know, maybe Whedon was just being a troll, and he's like, "I'm gonna make this garbage on
I think
purpose."
he
Well,
knew.
yeah, because he was in
knew.
with Marvel. It's just like, I'll freak these people's movie up, and
Well, he's
Marvel
a
will
DC
be.
fan. He's wanted to make a Wonder Woman film for
Well,
years.
Okay, so let's start
All right,
off the
yeah, 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 yeah,
conversation.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
start off the conversation with our headline because Mortal Kombat's coming out.
Yeah.
And the director's a little worried because it's dropping in theaters and on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
And we're reviewing it. That's our 2 weeks from now.
Godzilla
This-
comes out
Godzilla's
pretty
this
soon.
week.
It's
Yeah.
not 2 weeks from. It's the week right before Oscars.
Oh, okay.
It's a while.
I take
We
it
have
back.
Godzilla versus. No, actually, this week's The Father, then Godzilla versus Kong, then Minari, then Mortal Kombat.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
we're doing the big releases, then an
Yeah.
Oscar, and then
Okay.
big
Yeah,
release.
okay.
Yeah,
and we've
yeah.
only got 2 more Oscar films.
Yeah, we were fitting them in where
the
there
fact
wasn't a big release.
Is the director's worried because he isn't sure how WB is going to measure the success of this film.
It's the same fear that Dennis Villeneuve has for the Dune franchise because he wants to adapt all the books, and he's like, I'm afraid with it going to HBO Max and theater side by side that if it doesn't make enough money, like how do you gauge success? Like if Warner Bros. Is like it didn't do well enough, we can't make the remaining Dune novels. And it's same thing with the Mortal Kombat director. He wants to make multiple sequels.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, how do we know if it's a success? Are they going to let me keep making movies if they say, well, not enough people watched it?
Well, and just to put things in perspective,
Yeah.
this is now the most viewed Red
I
Band
mean,
trailer.
if you make a
of all time.
huge stink about it,
The
that-
Mortal Kombat one?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
think about that. You have
Oh, yeah.
Deadpool out there,
Yeah.
both 1 and 2.
Mortal
This
Kombat's
is
a
the
huge
most
franchise.
most viewed Red
people
Band trailer.
want a good Mortal Kombat movie.
Well, that
they
okay,
want
but
it
here's the thing: could you already view that as a minor success?
so far, but
Could you already kind of calculate that into okay, people are hyped for this film. We already know Zack Snyder.
I think
Justice
Warner
League-
Brothers does take that stuff into it because if they didn't, we wouldn't have gotten Zack Snyder's Justice League anyways. If they didn't say, okay, if we don't, like, if they didn't
Well, you
think it
can't
would be
well,
slightly,
you can't really say that, and we'll save that discussion for.
well, for HBO Max,
Are the fans really in control? Because the real question there is, it's like it took years for
Oh,
them
yeah.
to concede to Zack Snyder.
but I do think they, after seeing so much hype for so long and knowing that they had HBO Max, they were like, okay, that's worth at least an HBO Max release. And maybe they could do the same thing with more. It's like, okay, we think there's enough success to maybe make it a HBO Max original, if not a theatrical release. And my thing is, like, I do think they do take into account how many fans view it, how many fans view the Red Band trailer.
Okay, well, think about it this way too. So, if Mortal Kombat is coming out in both theaters and on demand in HBO Max,
in April.
COVID is still affecting the theaters because they're not fully
there's
open. Even
nothing
though
else
they're
in April.
95%, there's
Yeah.
nothing else coming out. There's no way they would have put Zack Snyder's Justice League in theaters. No way. Because a 4-hour cut would have been a monstrosity to try to distribute.
No,
to
they
other
never
theaters.
planned
Yeah.
on doing that anyway. Yeah,
But if that's the case, and they got huge amounts of people, obviously watching, Zack Snyder fans, obviously, who clamored for this, tune in. You see tons of chatter all over the internet about it. You actually have a positive Zack Snyder film in the DC universe in terms of Rotten Tomato score. You know, it's positive with critics and audiences like it at like 90-something%.
Yep.
It's insane. So even though we didn't like it, we still say it's better than the first or the theatrical. And we even say, well, we as in Keith and I.
Yeah.
Sean,
It's
we
like
know
one of
you-
us liked it.
yeah.
I'd
But
go
it-
see it in theaters, all 4 hours of it again.
You would.
I would.
I can't sit. I
couldn't do
I
that.
couldn't get. It was hard to get through the 4 hours.
Even in
the first time.
IMAX, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I couldn't do it. But I think it's interesting because I'm thinking that I think you still have WB releasing this at a pivotal time where they don't have to worry about the theater success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to worry about if people are tuning in. And
Yes.
if you just got a free, which I don't know how long they offer free trials, even if they don't.
They don't do it anymore.
Well,
No.
they don't have any free
But
trials.
remember we did. We
Aren't they
talked
gonna
about
have? They're gonna have a free tier though, aren't they? With an ad
With
supported.
ads.
Oh, but
Ad
you don't get the
supported.
movies though, right?
You don't
don't
get. You
get
don't
any
get
of
those.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, we talked about it here on the show. I think back in January, they right before they released. So it's actually December, I think. Right before they released Wonder Woman 84, they stopped the 30-day free trial.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
they didn't want people to be.
yeah, but I get mine free with AT&T.
Yeah.
and I get mine free with Verizon.
Right.
Or no.
no,
I
you have
forget-
AT&T
You get Apple.
internet.
That's it.
You get it free
You
with
get Apple.
AT&T
Yeah, that's what
because
I-
AT&T owns HBO Max.
You get one of those bad streaming services.
and I
for
get
free.
mine free because my sister has AT&T.
But here's the thing with the theaters still, I think, or not as many people going to the theaters because they are now open. I mean, 95% AMC theaters
Yep.
are open
Yep.
nationwide. You still have the bigger cities that are closed, but even with them slowly opening, and we already see, you know, we know Quiet Place 2 is coming in Memorial
In May.
Day. We know that the summer blockbuster, you know, box office hits are hopefully back on their way to the theater. We've got the roadmap for the rest
We
of the
still
year.
have for
But
May
this
on. We
one-
still have a really good lineup as long as
But with this one
too much
hitting,
doesn't change.
the streaming services, I think they're really trying to capitalize on the fact that people are still at home. And ultimately, this is one of those movies that, truthfully, I think more people would go see. Truthfully, I would love to go see it in theaters.
Yeah,
Because I'm a fan of the original.
I mean we still
And
can.
we
Technically.
could, but
Yeah.
I'm going to end up watching it on HBO Max because it's still convenient.
Well, maybe
Considering all
throw
the
a-
hoops you got to
I
jump
won't
through.
reactivate my membership quite yet, but I might
Yeah.
be willing to throw a few bucks for.
Well, that happens to be the only reason I'm not going back to the theater to see it. Is because I don't want to pay for it, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to reactivate my membership yet.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for me to not rush back to the theater just yet to pay that full ticket
Yeah.
price, especially if I've got it included at home.
Yeah.
But just like the Zack Snyder 4-hour cut, I can sit there in the comfort of my own home and watch this.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, you can watch it 2 nights like I did. I didn't
But-
try to watch it all 4 hours through like you did. I watched
I'll watch the
started.
whole
I watched like 2 hours Friday night and 2 hours Saturday night.
I got about halfway or a half hour in, stopped, and then the very next morning I watched
The
all-
rest
Oh, I
of it.
watched it all in one go.
So you're
Good
the only
for
one who
you.
did.
It took me like 6 hours to get through it.
So
'cause I had to
Sean, the
take a
moral of the
couple breaks.
story is
Couple
if,
breaks.
if you had watched it all the way through, you wouldn't have liked it.
Oh, you think so? Probably not, because I would have slept through half of it.
I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, do we think Mortal Kombat is going to be successful?
I think it depends. Well, I think in a way, yes, because people are already clamoring for it. If it's bad, like I don't know. I mean, it's gonna. I think ultimately it probably will be because it's on a streaming service. I mean, I think word of mouth kind of affects theaters more so than it does people who are just curious. Like if you're curious and you have it available to stream, you might go ahead and stream it anyway.
I agree with that. I could tell people all day long, like, oh man, I saw this movie in theaters this weekend or whatever. You
And
gotta
they
go
won't
see
go
it.
see it?
They're not gonna go see it. But if it's on Netflix, hell yeah, they'll watch it.
Yeah.
They'll come in the next day and they'll be like, I watched that movie you told me to last night. It was good. You know.
Well, then what? I mean,
Unless
so
it's
it's
just
just like-
completely atrocious,
Right.
And if it is, and it tanks critically, and
But see, I almost think with Mortal Kombat, because the originals are
you expect a
atrocious,
little bit of camp.
The originals are very campy, and that's what makes them
Except the
so
first
good.
all right, it's campy, but it's got a serious tone.
It does.
Okay, save your pity for the weak.
It's like, yeah, I love the
But
first
it's just,
Mortal Kombat.
it's
not
over
because
the
it's a
top
good
like the
movie.
game,
Yes.
and I think that's
It
where they
is.
went right. They did make it over the top.
You want a
in
little bit of
dialogue and everything,
excess,
just
yeah.
like the game.
Yeah.
And it's just like if this movie is,
You know
even
who-
if it's campy, it's still gonna fit well with fans because that's what we liked about the original.
Brandon's gonna beat me, but you know who might actually make a good Mortal Kombat movie?
Oh,
Zack
gosh.
Snyder. Because you
No.
want it to
That's
be
his
excess.
style.
You
Yeah,
want it to be over the
over.
top.
No.
Yeah, it'd be
I-
300.
But see, okay, I
Mortal
don't
Yes.
want that.
Kombat.
But I don't want that. I don't want a remake of the '90s. I like the '90s version
I don't
for
think
what
you
it
can
is.
do
Yeah,
a
no.
But I
pure
don't-
serious Mortal Kombat though. Like
No.
you have to have a little bit
I
of
think you could.
tongue-in-cheek shtick in there.
Yes,
It's not Mortal
but-
Kombat if
Okay,
you
but
don't,
that's what
though.
Johnny Cage is for. Which he's not even in this film.
Not in this one.
That's what
the
he-
director
he was
said he will
used
be in
for-
the
Will be.
sequel.
But here's the thing. Okay, but they're
all
already
the-
planning
I've
for a
played the
sequel.
games. All the characters are pretty campy. That's
Yeah.
what fans love about the games. I love it. That's
I don't know.
hilarious.
I don't know. I feel like everybody who's gotten into the lore and they understand it, and it's this whole outer world versus Earth.
Yes,
And,
it's
but
great.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it could be. It's a cool story that I was tired of reading the text in Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 and 3.
Well, when you played them on the
I know,
Sega, and if you played the
exactly.
new ones now, you get to watch cutscenes, and they're great.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah.
and they are ridiculous and over the top, and of course that's why you play the games. But I wanted to see the ridiculousness and over the top nature come into some bit of reality where you could be like, "Oh snap, that freaking is awesome!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still kind of make it happen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even in the original, when he fights Scorpion, it's not like a reality. He's like in a
I mean, I don't want it
weird dimension
Yeah.
or something.
to be terrible, but if it comes in like, if it's like Fast 5 type of over the top,
Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about. If it's that
that's-
type
okay,
of,
But the thing is that's still believable. That's still It's ridiculous.
they drug us safe through the streets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
but and they make
not
it
believable.
They make it believable in the
Okay,
way that it's
so
filmed.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page. It's just,
It's
I
got to
don't
be
know, or-
intentionally over the top.
yeah.
To me,
If it's not intentional, then it's
If
not.
it's okay,
But
if-
again, how do you? We talked about it a second ago. How do you measure that success?
I think it's gonna be. I think it's two things. Obviously, they have a view counter
Yeah.
on like their HBO Max.
Also, I think
app.
they will take into account like critic and user.
Yeah, they
like,
almost
ratings.
have to take into account third-party review sites and stuff like that because you can't give it a review on HBO Max like you can with Netflix. You can give it a star or a thumbs up or whatever. You can't really do that on HBO Max. But yeah, if
I
they
think it's
can,
gonna
they
be
can count the
also-
views. But everybody who viewed it didn't like. They didn't like. Y'all didn't like Justice League,
No,
but you watched it.
But
Yeah.
I do think in terms of it's as far as chatter, and like I said, I think that's where you get into
Oh
obviously.
God, Neil said James Cameron should make a Mortal Kombat
he
movie.
knows.
He's pushing
He's-
buttons
he's
now.
Trying, he's trying to get me. He's trying to get me.
he
to
would
slip
film.
up.
He would literally film it in the Outer World.
Yeah.
He would
The first
create
3D film in Outer World. He would do it.
the outer world. It would literally be like a scene in the video game.
over here.
And I'm telling you, it would be like Pandora is like a level.
Pandora.
Can we get Steven? Can we get Stephen Lang?
Yes.
As
Oh, he
Raiden?
could be.
He'd be Kano.
Oh, yeah,
Raiden
he'd be
could be
Kano.
Kano.
Kano
Yeah.
would be good.
He
Yeah,
could do
Kano's
Kano.
good. I was thinking of somebody that wouldn't match though. That's why I said Raiden. That's like what
Here's the thing.
Stephen Lang did.
I want to see Goro and I want to see Motaro.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were-
Motaro's
yeah.
not in this first movie.
I know, but I'm
Just
just saying
Goro.
they did a terrible job with Annihilation. That was botched. It was god awful.
I don't know if I ever even saw that
You
one.
don't
should.
need. Well, yeah, you do
You
for
should.
laughs.
it's fun.
The CGI
It's a terrible movie.
is
Like
so
movie.
primitive
Well, it's not like the CGI in the first one with Reptile was good either.
Okay, well we're diving into the weeds, but I think it's going to be successful. I think that ultimately the way WB is accounting for this, for one, it was their harebrained idea to start this anyway with all the theatrical releases this year.
Yeah.
And of course they already announced that they're
Next
not doing
year,
it for
they're
next
not
year.
doing HBO Max.
So they've already got
releases.
that news ahead of the game that yes, next year's all theaters. But I think not having to, I guess, bolster the advertising as much for theater hits, more so for people to stream at home and for people who have access to HBO Max. I do think that they're counting on a big part of it being from streaming services and being by word of mouth. And I think ultimately they don't care if you like the movie or not. I think they do care about views. And I think that ultimately, especially
because
at this point,
ultimately they care about, okay, if this was in theaters, would we still make a profit? Well, we have this many views, we think we would have.
right?
So.
Yeah.
And not only that, but how many people are going to be repeat viewers?
How they get
Because
paid.
if you know that you're only supposed to hit a certain threshold with all these movies they've got and all these shows, if they know they're supposed to hit a certain threshold and they get to that and they continue to see that threshold rise, I think that's their trend for, okay, people are coming back and rewatching this, or new members are actually intrigued and they're watching it.
Or even like new subscribers. If you have a movie come out that's doing really well, then all of a sudden you get a surge in subscriptions because people want to see that movie. They're like, okay, this movie's bringing subscribers.
See, that's where I don't get it. Because, I mean, HBO Max, I'm sure they've got millions of subscribers. They don't have anywhere near what Netflix has. No. They don't have anywhere near what Amazon Prime has.
They don't have what Disney Plus has.
They don't have what... Yeah, that's right. So I'm just... If you've got a $200 million movie or $150 million movie, how are they making that money back from subscribers? They can't be. They'd have to have 50, 60 million plus subscribers.
And I think that's also why they're kind of looking at viewers and how people are responding to the movies as a rate of success rather than just money, because they know, well,
I get that,
movie
but a
may
rate
not
of
make a
success
profit.
doesn't pay the bank back when you've spent that much money on a movie.
Well,
I mean, they're not making it back.
What if they've already considered it a loss anyway?
Yeah.
And they've just said, okay, we don't need...
They've written that off. They're
Netflix,
good.
Basically does the same thing. So.
But if they consider it a loss in the short run and they know that in the long run it is a successful franchise, or like the Zack Snyder
It's like they took a hit on Mortal Kombat this year, but if they think it can make a successful
All the rest of them
franchise,
will
it's
be
like,
in
okay,
theaters.
2, 3, 4, that'll make, bang.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. We know that one way they can measure success is because they please the fans. Simple as that. And the fact is we know that's exactly what happened with the Snyder Cut. Fans had this hashtag Snyder Cut for at least
the
2
Justice
years.
League was terrible.
Justice
League.
That's what they
I
call
had
it.
not heard that.
Oh no,
but
they
I
call
love
it. Yeah, there's
the Justice
there's
League.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then the original is being called the Justice
I
League.
could see that. I like that.
Okay, I
they
do
have
too.
to come up with something.
It's creative.
Well, everybody's trashing Joss Whedon. I'm still like, hey, look, get the guy a break. He came in there to do a favor.
Well,
come on.
Part of the thrashing is also part of the harassment allegations.
I know,
and it's
I
like,
know,
listen,
and that's why
I don't care.
I'm not going to base his work on
about
whatever he may be an asshole, and I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I kind of believe he probably is, but
Base it on the end result is kind of where I'm at, and Zack Snyder's not a good director. He's not a good filmmaker.
No,
but he beat Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah. You know how long it took him?
4 hours.
4 years.
4 years.
and I'm sorry, but it's like this is my problem with Zach. Look, okay, here's the thing, and we've talked about this before.
This is not about we still got to get
talked
to the
about
fans.
this. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before with Sonic the Hedgehog and the recreation of fans going mad about that and raising alarms, and then the studio going back
where they were in the right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But here's the thing: anybody can start a Reddit, anybody can start a Discord or a Facebook group and get millions of followers, especially these diehard fans. That's
start
why
a petition.
I'm intrigued by the Mortal Kombat movie, but I'm also sitting here thinking, well, it's only a success because of the IP itself. But at the same time, whether it's a trash movie or not, there's going to be fans who love it regardless. That's kind of how I feel about the Zack Snyder flick. I think I'm more disappointed because, granted, I understand, and I'm even conceding it's better than the theatrical version, but it's not a good movie. And now I know you disagree, Sean, and that's fine. But in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, are the fans right then to have gotten this made? Well, obviously the studio doesn't care. Because if they're making money or they're getting views or they're generating, a lot of buzz, they're happy. That's what they want. They want to please the fans. They want to please the customers.
They wanted to please him so much they gave him $83 or $85 million
to make a 4-hour cut.
Now, granted, he had to turn away his profit. He said
Yes.
he wasn't going to make
yeah,
a
he
dime
didn't take
on
any
it.
profit. Yeah.
So I got.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
He
couldn't
turned away a paycheck.
And
Yeah.
it was a passion project, so I do respect him for that. For me, and I mean, I say this about everything, but I think it's true. It's kind of a case-by-case basis. I don't think you should just absolutely cater to fans because if you do everything the fans want, you can end up making garbage. But if you're a studio and you're looking to make something and you want to make money and you say, okay, we have to agree that Sonic looks like crap and fans aren't buying it, so yes, let's fix Sonic.
Well, see, that was an
Justice
interesting
League
case.
sucked. It's like, okay, they were right. It sucked. They've been harping us for 3 years. We have HBO Max. Let's kind of give them what they want and see what happens.
Okay, and two instances though.
Yeah,
In those cases, one, the Sonic situation, the studio already was in the wrong because originally the designers themselves were
Yes.
like, "Hey, going with this design's not a good idea."
Yep.
They reverted and said, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna go with ours." So they did it, and then
And
they
fans
immediately
hated
had
it.
to go back because the fans were like, "This is trash."
Yep.
So then they're like, "Whoops, okay, we'll go back." And now that
That's
studio that
Paramount.
made Sonic
Yep.
shut
Yeah.
down. So they put people out of business. But two, as far as Justice League is concerned, Zack Snyder freaking pumped up.
He did.
He pumped. I mean,
Well, he did. Well, he wanted to clear his name, which I give him that. I give him
I don't
that.
know if it was that or if he's just got an ego.
His name. Well,
Bigger
I
I
do
than
mean,
think
the
he has.
world.
I do think he has an ego.
oh well,
but-
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, anybody with an ego doesn't want their name thrown under the bus.
Fair.
And with the Justice League, I love that. I'm going to use that now. I think that his name was attached to that, and he's like, "Look, guys, I got like 20% of this movie, and the other guy did the rest. Like, I can't be blamed for that. Let me do it my way, and I'll show you." And he showed
But
us
see,
something,
okay, here's the thing.
but he didn't show us
Nobody-
he didn't show us this amazing superhero movie, but he showed us a better movie.
Nobody was blaming him though.
I
Everybody
think
was
he felt
blaming
that
Joss
way.
Whedon.
I think he felt that
I
way.
think Zack Snyder wanted to feel that
I mean,
way.
I solely blame
Well,
Warner Brothers because they've just
ultimately,
they've
yes.
made a debacle of the whole
True.
DC
All of it,
cinematic
yeah.
universe from the beginning. So
Yeah.
I'm
But
like,
who's to blame
they
for
have,
that?
they have no idea what that's
the
Warner
very
Brothers.
man and the very man they just gave the reins over to. Zack
Okay,
Snyder did not
that
make
is
any
fair. He-
decent movie
he did-
up until this one.
He was kind of in charge of the whole DC film thing for a while, but that was still Warner Brothers' decision. So you have to
Yeah.
say they decided to give him the reins.
Let him do it, even after Man of Steel and even after
True.
Batman
But to
v
be fair,
Superman.
I didn't think Man of Steel was a terrible movie. I mean, I didn't think it was as good as it could have been, but I could see after that one, I could see how they could be like, oh, we can give him another shot because he could do better. After Batman v Superman was when I was like, okay, maybe he shouldn't be doing this.
Stop.
But she's biting.
She's biting.
Man, I know she got. You got to smack her on the nose.
No.
you gotta-
It's like,
there
why
you
did
go.
you say that name? After that,
She
I was
bit
like,
me
yeah, we
again.
don't need any more of the
She gotta
Snyder.
get
I smacked her and she bit me harder.
She did.
She
likes
now
to
she
bite,
thinks you're
man.
playing.
She's like,
oh,
I'll show you.
now she came over here to me.
Yeah.
She's gonna bite me.
She's gonna tell
Our
on
Red
me.
Moon Pup's being naughty.
Yeah, she is. I'm gonna spank you. But no, here's the other problem that I have with fans always getting their way is sometimes like
They
you
don't-
and you pointed it out.
They don't always. They
Well,
try to
no,
get
no, no,
Amber
no.
Heard fired, and she's still got a job.
Yeah.
So
Well, but
She was. Well, I got a quick question. She does not have an accent in Aquaman.
no.
Where did she get the accent in this in Justice League? She has a British accent.
That was one of the changes that he made. I don't know why.
Here's
He
like
just did.
because he's making his movie to connect to his movies. He don't care what the other movies did because those weren't
Yes.
a part of the original picture. So
Then why have Willem Dafoe? Willem
Well,
Dafoe is
Willem Dafoe was-
only a part of
he was supposed to
Aquaman.
be in the. He was hired by Joss Whedon, or not by Joss Whedon. He was hired by
Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder before Aquaman was made. He was
Oh,
going to be
okay.
in the original cut.
Okay.
All I know
Again,
is,
all
is-
those scenes were already filmed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But here's the
Yeah.
thing. All I know is there are times where it's like as a fan myself, I want to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, you want expectations subverted?
Oh, no. Well, to a degree, yes.
Well, maybe Ryan
Fans
Johnson
got
needs
what
to
they
make,
wanted with
make
that.
Justice League.
I think fans got what they wanted with Star Wars. After The Last Jedi,
Oh,
fans were in
absolutely.
outrage, and JJ came.
Absolutely.
They went and got JJ back,
retconned
and exactly.
But here's
exactly.
the thing. But how often do we talk about now, even after episode 1, 2, and 3, being the debacle it was,
Yeah.
that it's better than 7, 8, and 9?
Yeah.
Because 7, 8, and 9 were such a piece of trash.
I like the prequel trilogy better.
It's
Do
sad.
you really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do.
Oh, man.
I do in the sense that
it's more cohesive.
I like
Right.
Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith.
Oh
I
no,
do not like the Phantom
Menace is a terrible movie.
it's garbage.
But to me, yeah,
Except
yeah.
Pod
I
Racer.
like Force Awakens better than
Phantom Menace.
Phantom
100
Menace.
Force
Yeah.
Awakens is an amazing movie. I just mean as a whole, I like the prequel trilogy better because
Yes.
to me, at least, it's more cohesive
fits.
and I understand
Yeah.
the plot.
Well, that's not.
so
It's Ryan Johnson's fault.
that is. It's Ryan
And
Johnson's
Disney.
fault.
But again, he subverted expectations
Kathleen Kennedy.
Right.
for the sake of and again. But the problem there was he took an established franchise and he made his own cuts based on, or his own story based on the fact that he didn't want fans to come in and enjoy the universe that was already made. It's like, you don't do that with something that's 7-8 films in.
Yeah.
You do that with a.
You don't do that with something that's 40 years old.
Exactly.
I mean, it's decades in the making.
But
Like, you
again,
don't come in and
fans
screw it.
Fans were in control of creating 9,
Yeah.
and yet even still, it wasn't good
Wasn't,
enough
yeah.
because it didn't put a cap on everything. But again,
Yeah.
And it's hard
what
to
could
do
JJ
when you're
have done?
when you're trying to right the ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And even then, it's too late. But it's funny because I see all these fans get online, and sometimes I just want to be like, guys, the whole point of going to the movies and going to see, and maybe I'm saying
is
this
to be surprised. Yeah.
because Marvel has done so many things right, and I'm not saying I want a copy of the MCU with the DCU.
Hey, they've
Yeah.
given fans what they've wanted before. A lot of people really wanted Brie Larson to be, or not Brie Larson. Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
That's Brie.
Oh, is that Brie? Yeah,
It
okay.
is
I see
Brie
what-
Larson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Brie
a lot
Larson.
of people wanted her. I was one of them. I thought she'd make a great Captain Marvel. Then we got what we wanted, and it was not as good as we thought it would be.
No.
So
I don't know. There's times too where I think about Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, and I thought when
Nobody
I first
wanted
heard
that.
I thought this is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I was like, this is a masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
And the whole Dark Knight
but it
trilogy
also
is
takes
a
a
masterpiece.
really great director that knows what they're doing. It's like Christopher
yes.
Nolan, Ryan
Zack
Johnson.
Snyder.
Well, I was just
And
going
Ryan Johnson.
Christopher Nolan was a producer for Zack Snyder's Justice
All of
League.
them. Yeah, he
Oh,
was.
I know.
Yeah.
He was for Man of Steel, which
Look,
gave me hope. And
Listen,
it was just
The
bad.
trailer was good.
all that means is all that
It's
means is
about
that
right.
he foot part of the bill. It doesn't mean he had
No,
creative
yeah,
control.
yeah.
So.
He should have though.
He
He
should've.
should have taken the reins.
He probably didn't have the. Well, I guarantee you, he's not producing any more DC movies
Zack
because
Snyder starts the Snyder cut, but then another director comes in and finishes it. You're like, well, this is history repeating
But I was just
itself.
saying,
And then in
I don't
4
know
years,
that
we get the
Nolan's
Zack
gonna
Snyder
be-
cut because that wasn't my vision.
Yeah.
all I was going to say was I don't know how much more DC films he'll be producing because Nolan's apparently done with Warner Brothers entirely now. So
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because of what
They
the
ticked him
decision
off
they made
royally.
this year.
Yeah.
But here, okay, let's get back to the question, and I have this one kind of question to wrap this up, which is, did this change things in Hollywood? Is this a situation where, they gave a man $85 million to recut a film that did abysmally, but it still performed. People went and saw it in the theaters.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but is this a
it did $800
changing-
million. That's
is
nothing
this
to
a
laugh
changing
at.
No.
paradigm with the as close as social media is nowadays to influencing corporations? I mean, I don't want to get into it, but we have the woke culture out there, and we got wokeonomics on our watch these days.
Well, social media is influencing politics.
Well, it
So
influences
at
everything.
some point, it's
Yeah.
going to influence everything.
Well,
yeah.
it definitely influences everything. I think it sets a precedent that we have to be mindful of
Yeah.
because it could be very dangerous. I don't think it's completely changed Hollywood yet because if it had, I think we would be hitting Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3.
and
because-
Nathan Fillion would be
Yes.
freaking Uncharted.
And Nathan Fillion.
Where's the
would-
fans on that?
Yes, fans threw a
I'm
fit about that, and we
starting
didn't
to
get
Reddit
that
right
one.
now.
Start it tonight.
So-
Red Moon's gonna do something.
Fans don't.
We're changing the minds
We're
of
gonna change it.
Hollywood.
So as of right now, I still believe fans only get what they want if the studios still see a profit in it. If they don't see a profit in it, they're going to be like, "Nah, we're not
Yes.
giving you that."
Yeah.
no, I would agree with that. I think I don't know. I don't know that. I want to believe
Yeah,
that.
and we have to see more. I mean, we'll see what comes.
Common sense tells me
If
that
a few weeks
business
from
is
now
not
we
gonna
get
shoot themselves in the
announcements
foot.
saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to let him do Justice League 2 and 3," then we might know. Okay, fans
and that's-
dictate Hollywood now.
That's what I'm expecting, honestly.
I kind of
Because
I
here's
kind
the
of feel
thing.
like it might happen.
I hope it does.
But the reason
I'll
I
still
think
watch it.
the reason I think it's gonna happen is because I think Zack Snyder drummed up this. He's sitting here saying, no, the cut that you saw, I'm gonna let it stand, be what it is, and then everybody's hashtag release the cut. And even Snyder
well, now
himself,
it's released the Snyderverse.
but even
Snyderverse,
himself came out and said there is no Snyder cut. It would have to be completely re-edited, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
That was enough for them to keep droning it. And then he starts posting pictures on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And when he sees the hashtag and he's posting pictures like, look at that. Release the Snyder cut. It's like, dude, you were on board for this.
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah.
Granted,
Yeah.
I agree with you, Sean. It's like, he's wanting to clear his name. So be it. But all he's got to do is jump on this bandwagon and try to drum up more. See, people want to see my Zack Snyder.
And I think he will. I think moving forward, he says, "I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm out," or whatever.
He
whatever.
said it
Warner
about
Bros.
this.
But I think he will continue. He'll be posting Snyder cuts 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like he'll be sharing that stuff.
Oh yeah,
because
he
he
will.
wants deep down inside he does want Warner Brothers to say go ahead and pick it up and finish it.
He's already promoting the black and white version, Justice is Gray, as being
Stupid.
the definitive version. He said this is the best version of the film. This is my favorite version of the film.
not
So he's already
watching it.
promoting it as
I'm
the
not
best
watching
version.
it 4 hours again. I'm not. I'm done.
No,
I'm
it
not
has no
watching
new scenes.
Well,
it's all black
it's
and
got
white.
an
It's just all
extended.
black and white.
There's a little bit. No, he said there was
The
some stuff
epilogue.
with the Joker that got cut that he was going to put back in the black and white version.
Why? This was supposed to be the definitive cut.
It's the
doesn't
same.
make any
It's the same
sense.
epilogue, but apparently there was more to the epilogue that he cut down a little. So there'll be
Why?
so the
He
epilogue.
had no reason
the
to.
epilogue will apparently be a minute or two longer, I guess,
Yeah.
with this extra Joker
There's
stuff.
supposedly one
Stupid.
line that
Yes,
the Joker says
the,
that
we
everybody
live in a society.
we
yeah.
live in a society or something like that.
Yeah.
Is
It's a
is-
meme, and
it's
everybody
like everybody wanted him to say it,
The-
and he never said
he
it.
says it in the trailer, and it's a meme that so everybody they lost their crap when he said it because the meme was created based off of like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and we live in it's basically saying like we're supposed to live in a society, but everything's crazy. So it's like we live in a society. It's a over exaggerated.
I saw the meme, but
Yeah.
I didn't understand why everybody was losing their crap over
Yeah, I don't either.
Well,
I didn't
it became a
understand.
popular meme. So then when he said it in the trailer, people were like, "I can't believe he actually had the Joker say it," and then it wasn't
like an
in the
Easter
movie.
egg kind of
So
thing. or
everybody was
something.
so everybody was disappointed that the Joker didn't say it in the movie. So apparently that line's
Instead,
going to be
he
added
gives
back to the
Batman
black.
a reach around.
Well,
Yeah.
which is a terrible line.
So apparently the black and white version will have that line
well,
added
here's
back
the
in.
thing. Ultimately, I don't care. At the end of the day, fine. Give the fans what they want. It's no skin off my back. I don't care.
Well, then
I
give
mean,
them Justice League 2 and 3 then.
and that's fine. I just think they're going to be
For
crap
HBO
films.
Max, yeah. Go
and
ahead.
I'll argue all day about how bad they are, but at the end of the day, I don't care if you like what you like. If the Zack Snyder fans are out there clamoring for more of this, that's fine. But it's up to WB and where they can spare expense. And I'm sorry, but I do think in the long run, you do have to value whether or not these are actually turning a profit. You can't just say, well, there's a lot of loud minority out there who wants to see these films, but at the end of the day, they don't generate what we need them to. Because I'm sorry, Avengers Endgame didn't reach to #1 at the box office for at least until He Who Shall Not Be Spoken re-released his stupid movie in China again.
Yeah.
But it's like, the fact is Endgame was the #1 movie for the longest time simply because fans loved it. They adored it. It was 10 years of build-up, and it got there on merit. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Zack Snyder's League or Justice League is bad and it doesn't deserve the praise or the
I hear what
the
you're saying.
fan friction that it's getting. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. I think it's going to be lackluster at best if they allow him to continue with this. And I think that
Probably
a lot of
so.
times with fan fiction, I think that's how it is. I think fans get their way, and sometimes they don't get they don't get it right.
I think we set a wicked precedent when we let fans dictate.
Well, I think
what
that's
Hollywood does.
with anything, with any type of like mob. When you let
Yeah,
a large group of people throw a fit over something and just give them what they want,
Yeah.
that is a dangerous
Well,
precedent.
I like and this is cheesy. I'll wrap it up with this.
Uh-huh.
I like the way Steve Jobs said it best. He's like, people don't know what they want until we show it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think as an artist and as a creator, it's like we don't just give in to people who say, I want this and I want that and I want this. It's got to be a creator and artist. Like we're sitting here
As long as it's
every
good.
time. But again, agreed. But we didn't know we wanted Nolan films until we saw Nolan's filmography.
Mhm.
And the moment every time a new Nolan film drops or a trailer,
People are
we're
excited about
super
it.
excited about it.
Yep.
And to me, that's originality.
Just like James Cameron, you don't really know
I
you
hate
want
you.
that until you
That's
get
right.
it.
Thanks. Alrighty, guys, we are finally ready to move on to
It's 10:07.
Yeah.
Oh
Let's move
gosh!
on.
Well, it's
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, 4-hour cut, 4-hour
This
show.
is the
Yeah.
this
We're
is
doing
the
it.
Davidson cut.
That's right.
I already said it earlier.
All right, we're doing story time. Let's roll that beautiful open.
It's story time, where the podcast members tell their stories.
Story time.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you all for sticking with us
Yeah.
Yes.
here on
It won't be
the
much
Red Moon
longer.
Podcast.
No, we're
hope.
getting close to the end now.
Alrighty, guys, let's talk about it then. Our story time segment. A time when you were asked to do something, didn't want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but after you helped, you were glad. You were glad you did it.
I was asked to watch the Zack Snyder cut. Didn't want to do it. No, go ahead.
But you had a good laugh.
ahead.
So
I
you're
mean-
glad you did.
I mean, I have a few stories.
Well, we
even
only-
about people who watch the show.
get-
so
you
now
get
I'm just
all-
like,
here,
it's
how-
like,
I
now
only
do
get
I
one.
do?
How many do you have? About 3?
I'm not gonna go through them all. I would say
You get an hour for each one.
for each one, man.
30
well,
minutes.
like I said,
come on.
some of them I
30
kind of want
minutes.
to talk
The
about,
Cheatham
but
cut.
then if I tell the story on the podcast and the people who I know actually watch the podcast watch it, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't want to help us with that?" Then I'm gonna feel bad. So I'm
Okay.
gonna go with one
Oh.
from Bob Evans, where I used to help a friend of mine who was the manager down at Preston when they had no staff, and I would go down there and cook for them when I was off. And there was one night I really didn't want to do it, went and did it anyways. And then we went out for like beer and stuff afterwards, and I had a good time because I was like, okay, the beer made it worth it.
There you go.
And
Camaraderie.
I've had similar situations. Well, just almost any instance,
And
like
you got paid.
helping somebody like move. I've helped you before, and it's not that I don't really want to help.
Jacob Burris, he's talking about you.
Well, I mean, I helped you with the futon, and it's not that I never want to help.
That was way back.
And it's that sometimes when you're at home and you're relaxing and you're in for the night and someone texts you, I've had family members do that. And they're like, hey, will you help us because you have a truck?
Yes.
And they know you have a truck.
Yep.
So you're sitting at home chilling. Like, it's the weekend. I'm good to go for the weekend. Hey, I choked there.
Whoa.
On air.
It really got to him.
Yeah. And they're like, will you help us move this couch? And I'm like, but then I have fun doing
Whoever
it.
you're talking about just poked your voodoo doll in the throat.
Yeah. Melissa Birch, she's like, is she talking about my family? Oh, no.
Yeah.
But no, okay, all right. Sean, what about you?
I was actually thinking earlier when I saw the notes update or whatever that I remember several years ago being asked at church to help with youth camp to
yeah.
go and help with that, and I didn't want to do it. I was just like, nah, that's a week
Yeah.
out of my life
Big
that
commitment.
I did not want to do it, and going there with these like 8 teenagers.
Oh, she's really
it,
upset. now.
oh,
Wait,
she's barking.
See, this is what
She
happens.
wants
We go
attention.
over time.
Yeah.
We
She
go
wants
over on
attention.
time.
She's interrupting my story.
You shut up.
No, but I mean,
Oh, she just hit her head hard.
Well,
going
ahead.
on that trip, even though I didn't want to, that's what led me to want to be a youth minister. So after we got back, for 6 years, I was a youth minister.
Nice.
wow.
So it was all because of going to Centrifuge Camp.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go. I dreaded every second of it. But when I got there, I was just like, man, I never experienced this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I never went to camp, and ended up connecting with a lot of the kids when the youth minister that was there just didn't.
Yeah.
And when we came back and they like basically let him go, it was, hey, we got a lot of response from the kids that they would like for you to like kind of do the interim thing, and then they ended up asking me to stay on, and I
that's
I
awesome.
felt like that was what I needed to do. So
Yeah.
it was definitely worth going, but I didn't want to at first.
Originally.
I want to assuage my conscience real quick because Jacob
I saw that.
has said that it's okay if I didn't want to help. He appreciated it because I'm a gentleman and true. I never. It's not that I ever.
I got a toaster oven. I got a rocker
Yes,
out of it.
yes.
Wow.
I got a hutch out of it. I got all kinds of free stuff. So it was definitely worth
I
it.
usually just get a bad back when I help people move.
Oh, trust
It's
me.
not that I
was hurting the next day.
It's not that I
My
never want to
fatness.
help. I'm just very introverted, and when I'm in for the day, I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to stay there.
Yeah.
It's a recharge.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like it takes me a lot to force myself to leave my house, but once I'm I'm happy.
Right.
So it's not that like I don't want to be around people or don't want to help people, but I'm just like I don't want to get out.
All right, last
Go ahead.
one. Mine's not really. It's kind of self-serving, I have to say. I mean, there's 2, but I'm going to just tell the first one and I won't go in the litany of the whole story. But took a trip way back in right before my junior year in high school. Just turned 16 that summer to San Antonio. It was fun, obviously, just fantastic trip. A lot of great memories. And I just remember before that trip, we had a smaller youth group at our church that was combining with another one, a bigger one, to go on that trip. And I didn't want to go because I didn't really know the people, the other youth members. I was, like I said, we were a small church. There was like 3 of us. I thought I was going to have a terrible time.
Mm-hmm.
And so regardless of it supposed to be this fun, cool event, I was like, I don't want to do this. Well, an opening came up. My dog's playing with her. She's annoyed.
Yeah.
She's getting her attention in somehow or another. But no, an opening came up where one of the other kids in the youth could not, or backed out, and then at the last minute wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to go, my pastor was going to back out. Well, our pastor was the only connection we had to this other group. So it was literally going to be like 3 of us that were going to go, and we were never, like, it was kind of I felt like we were going to be like outcasts, or at least not get to know everybody, without having at least an anchor there like Pastor Romer.
Yeah.
So I ended up, my parents sat me down, and they questioned me seriously, and they were just like, we're not going to make you go if this happens. And because we think, if you don't feel comfortable going, we can talk to Pastor Romer about it and just say, hey, we think you should go with them, but if you can't, that's fine if you want to give up your spot for someone else to go. But, Brandon doesn't feel comfortable going. And I told him, I said, honestly, I was like, yeah, I don't. And it came down to where they found out that both of them could go. They didn't have to free up a spot just for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us were going to go. And when that happened, it was kind of like, I was like, dang it, man, I'm going to have to go. And funny enough, a week before the trip, we got together with the other group. We went to Holiday World. We had a blast. It forced me out of my shell, out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I literally started to try to get to know as many people as I could. I don't know what it was. I really do feel like it was God just being like, hey, just start asking people. Like,
yeah.
And I got to know a little group of friends in that. And then, of course, when we went on a trip, the bigger trip, like a week and a half later, I got to know everybody. And I just became great friends with them, lifelong memories. And it was just a fantastic, absolute blast.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad that it ended up,
Fantastic.
It's crazy how, sometimes you're stuck not wanting to do something for the sake of your own, again, selfishness and or I think in a perfectly valid scenario, maybe you're just wore out. Maybe you've already put yourself through enough stress, but then you do it, and afterwards you just feel absolutely, 100% glad that you did do it. So if you've got a time out there where you were tired and wanted to just give up, not help.
Yeah.
Watching
the show
She's up there
right now.
Everybody could see her. Like you wanted to throw a dog through a window.
Yeah.
She is tired.
She's going nuts.
This is what a pup
Trying
does.
to stay awake.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. But like we were just describing, right there at the bottom of your screen, Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Pics, and Red Moon Productions on YouTube. Search for us, follow us, like, share, subscribe. We need your likes and comments, notifications too. Click that bell icon.
Love.
Oh, she's right. Oh,
Look at that.
there it is.
Get that belly.
Look at that belly.
Wants to be on the camera.
She just wants to be loved.
Oh, she scratched my face.
Oh, she.
What is love?
Okay.
All right, that's gonna do it,
That's
guys.
good.
All right, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Brandon
Pull
Davidson,
my headphones off.
alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Cabbage, mutton, smithing, slosh, dongle, mindle, flying, brachial drainage.
it's back. I love it.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.